So, according to Epstein emails, Epstein and somebody else who everyone's saying is Susan Hamblin ordered a kill of somebody. So it says, I give you permission to kill him down here, June 30th, 2014. He's apparently with Olga. He lied to you and he lied to me. Sent from my iPhone. Above that says, whoops. And above that says, no one will lie to you and get away with it from me. No one. Whoops is correct. I am only sharing emails that I've for sure confirmed came from the actual government website DOJ dump. So I'm being very careful which ones I share. This is Odessa Orlowitz with Liberty Talk Canada. Also, apparently Epstein has a child. He has an email from a royal I'm going to show you where they talk about congratulations on your son. So he's got children running around somewhere apparently. Well, I don't know what they did with him, but anyways, we're looking at the fact that everyone's saying that it's Susan Hamblin that is in this email between Epstein and her, because you'll see that they really poorly redacted her name. And I looked at it very closely, and that's definitely says Susanhamblin. Even Grok agrees they poorly redacted it, and everyone's saying it's Susan Hamblin. Who is Susan Hamblin that so nonchalantly talked about betrayal and killing? Let's take a look. Okay, so Susan Hamblin is a financial advisor and founder of the adoption agency Kids to Families. Oh, this cannot get any better. She's mentioned in recently released Jeffrey Epstein files where a poorly redacted message appears to show her emailing Epstein with, quote, permission to kill someone, reconstructible from visible letters, saying in her name, you can see it. Her Epstein ties stem from these documents. She won a defamation suit against the Sun over related claims, but I looked into it and it wasn't the ones about this killing thing, it was something else. The redaction likely aimed to protect identities but failed. Exact motives unclear. Some speculate she's not the same person as an interior designer named in other files. No, I couldn't find that she's an interior designer. And apparently she was his assistant at some point as well. So, what's interesting is I'm going to show you that when RFK Jr.'s wife died, Jeffrey Epstein responded with, whoops. It's bizarre. Okay, and I checked, and yes, the emails are from the official government dump. Jeffrey Epstein's shocking response to RFK Jr.'s wife, Mary Kennedy's suicide revealed. So, Mary Kennedy was the second wife of RFK Jr., and she was found dead in her backyard in May 2012, with her death ruled a suicide by hanging. So, I don't know if you guys know that about RFK Jr., but his second wife commits suicide. According to everybody in Hollywood, she was battling a lot of mental unwellness, like depression and stuff, but really bizarre email. So the Jeffrey Epstein file has surfaced. The late sex offender who allegedly committed, oh, we don't have to talk about that, as if the guy was oft in jail. We know that. But, anyways, 7 years before he died, the current Secretary of Health and Human Services lost his second wife under similar circumstances. Mary Kennedy was found dead at her home in New York in May 2012. Her death was ruled a suicide by hanging. Upon discovering this news, Jeffrey sent a peculiar reaction to the tragedy, which was captured in an email. He said, whoops, in emails recently exposed. It's far from the reaction you'd expect after such a tragedy. And, like I just showed, he said, whoops, about the Susan Hamblin email saying, I give permission to kill. Whoops. Absolutely bizarre. So the exposed email shows that someone named Eva Dubin messaged Jeffrey on the same day that Mary took her own life. Eva's email stated that Mary was found dead in her backyard. Jeffrey's response was, whoops. No other information related to that email exchange has come out yet. So it's just saying here, people are shocked by what a weird response that was. And others wonder if Jeffrey had something to do with what transpired. And Mary's well-being was becoming a huge concern when her husband, RFK Jr., filed for divorce in 2010. This is prior to her passing, obviously. Some Hollywood people blamed RFK Jr. because they said he was philandering because he was cheating on her and it drove her to do what she did. If she did do it, I don't know. If she was killed, I don't know. But absolutely bizarre response from Jeffrey. Okay, and before we get to the fact that it looks like Epstein has a son, this one's important. From Jeffrey Epstein to Redacted, where are you? Are you okay? I loved the torture video. And then this person below says, I'm in China. I will be in the US second week of May. Now, what I'm about to show you, I'm not saying it's Netanyahu. What I'm going to show you is some response from some sleuths that are saying, weirdly enough, Netanyahu was in China during that time and was in the US the second week of May. Now, there's a lot of people that go to China who are businessmen and go to the US. So I'm not saying it is, but very interesting. And this is from April 2009. So it kind of matters that he has said that I loved the torture video, which just goes to show that all the people saying that, we're run by a bunch of crazies who do terrible things to children and are into all this dark stuff kind of proves to be true here. So somebody in Twitter shared this. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu meets with Yang Chichi, Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the People's Republic of China, April 23rd, 2009. Then someone below that says, the dates line up. President Barack Obama and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu meet May 18th, 2009. So again, I'm not saying it's Netanyahu. There's a lot of people that travel to China and America, but the dates line up. So that's why people are talking about it. And one more thing before we get to the fact that he has a child. Breaking, Epstein named his bank account Baal, Baal. We all know that Baal is a demonic being. So this shows it's JPM Financial Sponsors is at JP Morgan, July 29th, 2009. Memorandum from Jeffrey Epstein, COUQ Foundation, to William Doherty at JP Morgan. Please wire $11,438. Account to BAAL. Name Wachovia Bank. Obviously, they block out his other stuff, but that's interesting. Oh, wow. Looks like the right-wing podcasters are becoming more and more correct about the crazy stuff that's actually happening in high finance. Okay, so here, email from Sarah appears to congratulate Epstein on arrival of a baby boy. Sarah Ferguson, Revelations, not only does she say, marry me, and Epstein's baby boy. She congratulates. And this is going all over the UK. It's a huge, huge deal. She and Andrew are in even more trouble over there. So not only is there a photo of the former Prince Andrew appearing to kneel on all fours over a female lying on the ground. I'm sure you've all seen it. But Andrew's ex-wife and daughters are also repeatedly mentioned in the files themselves. She is quoted in the email saying, "You're the brother I've always wished for," but in another email said, "Marry me." And she congratulates him on the arrival of this baby boy. She also has requested money from him. And she also was literally telling Epstein about how one of her children, who's 19 years old, went away for a shagging weekend. Just gross. Who talks about their daughter to some old business guy that way? But anyways, let's go down to this email where she congratulates. So in the first email, she congratulates him. Then it's followed by, "You have disappeared. I did not even know you were having a baby. It was so crystal clear to me that you were only friends with me to get to Andrew. And that really hurt me deeply, more than you will know." And here's the initial one. "Don't know if you're still on this BBM, but heard from the Duke that you've had a baby boy. Even though you never kept in touch, I'm still here with love, friendship, and congratulations on your baby boy, Sarah." So that was her initial response. And then it looks like she got irritated that she didn't hear back from him because then she followed it by saying, "It looks like you were just using me to get to Andrew." Epstein also saying that Fergie can now say, "I'm not a pedo." Epstein appears to write this. Well, he proved to be one. She also said, I urgently need 20 grand for rent today. And speaking of the UK, Peter Mendelsohn, a longtime political grandee who earned the nickname with a reputation as a ruthless political fixer and schemer, stepped down as a member of the House of Lords on Tuesday. He was Keir Starmer's right-hand man. He faces an intensifying scandal over emails that appear to show, it's not appear, they do show, I saw them, him leaking sensitive political and market information to Epstein. So Mendelsohn has already resigned, obviously, because this is brutal, as the UK's ambassador to the United States in September after revelations about his friendship with Epstein emerged. On Sunday, he also stepped down from the governing Labour Party after the latest release of files suggested he lobbied his own government on behalf of Epstein while alerting him about coming decisions. And these decisions, guys, would affect people making money and the markets. So he says here, quote, trying hard to amend, Mendelsohn wrote to Epstein about a planned tax on bankers, bonuses in December 2009, according to the released documents. Treasury digging in, but I'm on the case. So Mendelsohn appears to have leaked internal economics briefings about assets the government believed it could sell. Mendelsohn forwarded it to Epstein with the added line, quote, interesting note that's gone to the PM, unquote. In 2010, Mendelsohn was business secretary. He notified Epstein in advance that Prime Minister Gordon Brown was going to resign following his loss of the general election, writing, finally got him to go today, according to their email exchanges. And Mendelsohn said he's resigning to avoid further embarrassment to the Labour Party and wants to apologize to the victims. Now, you know who's done a really great job of explaining how I'm going to show it to you guys where you should actually look for this amazing interview between Mike Benz and Benny Johnson. And even if you're not into Benny Johnson, Mike Benz just talks the whole time. Mike did a deep dive. I'm sure you guys know who Mike Benz is, as to exactly why Jeffrey Epstein is so important to finance, the markets, billionaires making money, and favor banks. So it's quite a long interview, but I suggest everybody go look at it because Mike is like, there's the whole everyone's saying that Jeffrey's main mission was trafficking for the elite. He's like, there might have been some trafficking going on, yes, and it's important and it's awful. But he talks about why Jeffrey was so important to the worldwide financial system. So let me just show you that interview so you guys can go there.
Not only that, we found ourselves looking at a series of emails, hundreds of them, that prove that Jeffrey Epstein was utterly obsessed with the tunnels.
Yeah, actually, I almost forgot to put that in this episode. There's just been so much. Now, emails, legitimate emails, are showing that Epstein was having all these tunnels built underneath one of his places. And then he had a trap door that went to water underneath. It was absolutely bizarre. I'll play a little bit of this, but this is the one where he actually has Mike Benz on after, which is just such an important interview if you want to understand the grand scheme of the fixer and making people billions of dollars that the financier Jeffrey Epstein actually was. The reason why I didn't initially add in the next part of what Benny Johnson's going to talk about is because it wasn't official emails back and forth between Epstein and other people. There's a staff member that claims that at one of Jeffrey Epstein's huge homes, two Asian sex workers, it got out of hand with the strangle sex and they died. And this staff worker told the FBI or the government that they are buried out there in the property. So I'll just play a little bit of this and you can see on YouTube, it's called Mike Benz Blows Doors Off Epstein Files. Who was Epstein really working for?
Under his island, leading to this trapdoor. This is the trapdoor on Epstein Island. And some people have speculated as to a nefarious nature, but you can see in what are literally hundreds of emails, Jeffrey Epstein's obsession with a secret tunnel maze underneath the island. Now, is there any evidence these tunnels actually exist? Yes. Yes, in fact. Another conspiracy theory turns out to be true. Epstein files show disgraced financier obsessed with tunnels under his pedophile island. Now, we've read to you and shown you many of the emails that suggest or just overtly declare that Jeffrey Epstein or his inner circle were murdering people.
Okay, so he's getting onto this next story, but I wanna tell you guys that I did see these emails about the tunnels. He's directing really hands-on with the tunnel builders. I want it like this over here, and I want this room here, and I need to store this there. Went back and forth, just kind of boring back and forth all about why he needs these tunnels. A lot of it he was claiming was to store stuff. Well, that doesn't make sense because it's a massive, massive property. Why didn't you just build a couple of huge, beautiful sheds or a massive barn or like 5 garages? No, he wanted everything stored in tunnels. So I did see those emails. They are legit. I do fact check Benny. Benny gets like 80% of his stuff right. And then he actually sometimes doesn't. But he's been pretty good lately. So here's another interesting one that I was talking about to do with this staff member and asks for Bitcoin in return.
Torturing people and discarding people. And this is an allegation that was sent saying that there are two foreign women who have been buried on the Zorro Ranch out in New Mexico. They were strangled, mutilated.
Okay, so he doesn't actually read this out, so I'm gonna read it out. It says, "Confidential, read Jeffrey Epstein. Edward, this is sensitive, so it'll be the first and last email depending on your discretion. You can choose to take it or trash it, but this comes from a person that has been there and seen it all as a former staff at the Zorro. The material below was taken from Jeffrey Epstein's home as my insurance in case of future litigation against Epstein. Sorry, no questions," meaning no questions allowed. "What is damning about Jeffrey Epstein is yet to be written. Did you know?" Redacted. And then it shows here are the video footage of Jeffrey Epstein. It says truncated, 13 minutes of a sex video with minor, 27 minutes of a threesome video, 12 minutes of a threesome video, 19 minutes of underage girl sex video, 7 minutes of another underage girl. Then the next one, number 6, is smaller, but it says 23 minutes of an underage girl rape fantasy video. Um, then there's Madame G, 15 minutes Madame G, that would probably be Ghislaine. "Please arrange for 1 Bitcoin by 6 PM today, to this BTC wallet address."
The thing that I think the Epstein moment gives an opportunity for the American people to understand is that
So here's the interview. It starts at around 16:16. If you wanna go straight to the interview with Mike Benz, it really is a phenomenal interview to really understand what was going on. I'll just play a couple minutes of it.
when you say like money from the CIA, there's a difference between being paid by the CIA and being and facilitating a CIA transaction where there's something in it for you. So, for example, Jeffrey Epstein got his, in terms of where he got his money, the New York Times attempted to answer this question in something like a 20,000 word report. And they said, oh, it's no mystery at all. He got it because he made Bear Stearns partner very quickly within 4 years in 1976 to 1980. And the reason he moved up so fast was because the head of the firm set him up with his daughter, so he's dating the boss's daughter right away. And then he kept working with Bear Stearns on deals, continuously for the next 31 years. And it was these deals that made him wealthy. And then they proceeded to not mention a single deal name. And the thing that, I mean, they interviewed 3 of his bosses. They interviewed about like a dozen different personnel who worked with Bear Stearns. And they said, oh, they put him on the most lucrative deals. And he was untouchable within Bear Stearns because he was dating the CEO's daughter, the same senior executive who recruited him to Bear Stearns in 1976. In 1978, became the CEO. So, and this actually does make a lot of sense. I've worked with investment bankers a lot personally when I was a corporate lawyer, and even corporate law firms adjacent, where our clients were the investment bankers. It works a very similar way in terms of
Okay, so that's the beginning of it, but it gets into all sorts of things and all the different people that he's doing stuff for. He talks about the favor bank, and so they all have favors on each other. And we're shown that by that Mendelsohn UK politician getting busted for telling him things that will literally affect the market, meaning give Jeffrey a heads up on something that's about to happen, insider trading. It's all just coming together. So again, you go to Benny Johnson, and the title is Mike Benz Blows Doors Off Epstein Files. Who was Epstein really working for? And this isn't just theory. Mike Benz worked in the industry, and he talks about how it all works. And he spent so long looking into this, a better job than anybody else, I feel, in looking into the grand scheme of Jeffrey. And it just simply wasn't just the trafficking thing. That was just a sick side of him. And he's all about favors and blackmail to get what he wants, to service the billionaires to get richer and all these sick pigs. Anyways, thank you for tuning in, Liberty Talk Canada. I'm Odessa Orlowitz. I'll be back with my regular show next week. If you missed it, I did, more importantly, a show that's pinned on Facebook, and it's my last show on Rumble, about Bill Gates getting busted in saying that he wasn't making money off these COVID shots, and him and Epstein preparing for the upcoming pandemic and how they could make a ton of money. So thank you for tuning in. I'll see you guys next time. Did you know if the banks do a bail-in, they can take the contents in your bank vault? But storing your gold and silver at home could be a huge security risk. Every day, our dollar is worth less and less. Inflation is stealing the only savings families have. Now more than ever, it's so important to hedge the savings you've worked so hard for. Banks have been failing all over the world, and social credit has all but arrived. But did you know you can do wholesale price vaulting and retail delivery from the most prestigious, reliable company in Canada? Did you also know if you decide to leave Canada, your gold and silver can be sent right to you after you arrive to your destination? The only company I personally use and trust are those awake guys at New World Precious Metals. Take control of your family's future. You can just click the link in my show description or type in the web address libertytalkcanada.ca/gold to get on their mailing list, attend their webinar, or book an appointment. Let them know Odessa sent you.